I get it, you're staring at the spec sheet for a benchtop incubator and wondering if you're really ready to drop a few $100s on a piece of equipment that might sit idle in the corner. Maybe you've borrowed a roommate's unit for a semester project, and it kept everything at a steady 37°C. Or perhaps you've watched a colleague struggle with temperature swings on an older model, and you don't want to repeat that headache. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. Before you click Add to Cart, let's walk through what the benchmark scientific H2265HC actually does in a real lab, who will get the most mileage out of it, and where the money really goes. First off, the H2265HC is a 65-liter heat and cool incubator that plugs into a standard 230V outlet. The name sounds like a bunch of numbers, but the key thing is the built-in compressor that can actively bring the chamber down to 0°C and hold it there. That's a step up from many simple warm-only incubators that can't handle cold work. So if you ever need to run a bacterial culture at refrigeration temperatures or do a quick chill step for enzyme work, this unit can actually do it without you having to shuffle plates in and out of a separate fridge. Let's talk about the day-to-day rhythm. Imagine you're a small-scale biotech startup working on a handful of cell lines. You'll be loading 1,015 culture dishes at a time, each needing a stable 37°C environment for 48 hours. The 65L volume is generous enough to hold those plates comfortably while still leaving room for a few extra flasks or a small roller. Because the compressor is powerful, as the manufacturer claims, you won't notice the temperature drifting after the door is opened a couple of times, something that can be a real annoyance when you're timing a passage. In the lab I've seen, the temperature settles back within 5 minutes, which is fast enough that you can keep your workflow moving without waiting for the incubator to catch up. On the flip side, that same compressor is also the source of a modest hum you'll hear when the unit is in cooling mode. It's not deafening, but if you're setting up a bench in a quiet teaching lab where students are trying to hear a lecture, the noise might be noticeable. It's not a deal breaker, but it's worth mentioning because the sound level isn't listed on the spec sheet, and it's the kind of hidden trade-off you only discover after you've already opened the box. Speaking of opening the box, the package weight is on the heavier side. This isn't a lightweight countertop gadget you can toss onto a rolling cart and whisk away. The unit ships with a sturdy steel frame and a fairly thick insulation panel, which contributes to the heft. If you're planning on moving it around a lot, you'll need at least 2 people or a proper cart. For a permanent bench setup, the weight actually works in your favor. The incubator sits solidly, and the heavy insulation helps maintain temperature stability, cutting down on the compressor's duty cycle and, in turn, on electricity usage. Now, who should definitely consider this model? If you're running a research lab that needs both heating and cooling in the same chamber, think microbiology, where you might incubate at 4°C for cold-adapted strains one day, and then switch to 37°C for mammalian cells the next. This is a solid, all-in-one solution. It's also a good fit for teaching labs that want to demonstrate both concepts without buying 2 separate pieces of equipment. The 65L capacity hits a sweet spot for medium-sized workloads, big enough for batch work, small enough to fit on a standard bench without crowding the space. Who might want to pass? If you're a solo hobbyist who only ever needs a simple warm environment for a few petri dishes, the added cooling capability is probably overkill, and you'll end up paying for features you never use. Likewise, if you're looking for a portable incubator to move between field sites, the weight and the need for a stable 230V supply make this a poor match. In those cases, a lightweight, electric-only incubator would be more practical and less expensive. A practical strength that often gets glossed over in marketing copy is the reliability of the temperature control algorithm. The H2265HC uses a proportional integral derivative, PID, controller that continuously reads the internal sensor and makes micro-adjustments to the compressor. In the few labs that have reported back, they've noted that the temperature variance stays within 0.2°C over 24-hour runs. That level of precision matters when you're doing time-sensitive experiments, like measuring growth curves where even a half-degree shift can skew results. A weakness you'll want to keep on your radar is the limited internal shelving configuration. The chamber comes with a fixed set of shelves that are spaced for standard plates and flasks, but you can't rearrange them without taking the unit apart. If your workflow involves a mix of tall bottles and shallow trays, you might find